Pain and illness is your body's way of telling you that something is out of alignment. Now, in our modern society, we tend to cover up our symptoms with medication, with drugs. But our symptoms are actually our body's way of telling us that something is wrong, that something is going on. So it's kind of like if your house is on fire and your smoke alarm is going off and you go and take the batteries out of the smoke alarm. Okay, you figured out, or you fixed the smoke alarm situation, but you haven't fixed the bigger problem. And that's kind of what taking medication for your symptoms is like. It's putting a Band-Aid over your body's message that's telling you something's wrong, but the fire is still happening in the background. Now let's talk about people with chronic pain. So I used to suffer from chronic headaches, so I used to be in this camp. Now, people who suffer from chronic pain have a nervous system that is overreacting. They have pain pathways that are overreacting, they're overfiring. And this happens with conditioning. Now, the way or the place that you feel pain in your body isn't actually like the place on your body that's hurt. Let's say you broke your arm. It's not your arm that hurts, it's your nervous system and your brain that is telling you to feel pain. And the same goes with a backache, the same goes with a migraine, okay? It's all happening in your nervous system and your brain. And these things can be rewired over time. So a lot of what leads to these overactive pathways that make chronic pain a thing is your thoughts about it. So fear is one of the things. If you have pain, you might start to fear having more pain. And because you fear having more pain, you get stuck in this pain spin cycle where the more you have anxiety about it, the more pain you feel. And then pretty soon you start focusing on it more, right? You start thinking about your pain more, you start anticipating it, you start talking about it, you start identifying with it, right? It becomes the reason you can't meet your friends for lunch. It becomes the reason you can't exercise. It becomes the reason you can't do anything. And you become so hyper-focused on your pain that it starts to completely rule your life. Now, studies have shown that focusing on your pain actually makes it worse. And all of these Western doctors, like in the Curable app, they talk about this. It's an app for chronic pain, that Western doctors that study pain actually recommend going and doing activities rather than avoiding them. Have you ever noticed that you might have a terrible headache and then you go out for like lunch with a friend and you completely forget about your headache and it disappears? When you don't focus on it, the pain gets minimal. And people with a strong internal locus of control, meaning that they believe they create their own reality, they have less chronic pain than people who think that outside forces rule them. My name is Kris Ashley.